Okay, an altitude is how tall a triangle is. So in this triangle, there's the ground, here's the highest point, there's the altitude. Notice that it's perpendicular, because when you measure height, it's a perpendicular distance. Okay? Now I have the same triangle, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rotate it and say, what might happen if that side's the ground? So if this is the ground now, this is the highest point, and so if I go straight down, this now is the altitude. Notice I have two altitudes, the red one and the green one. They're both altitudes, just depends on what side of the triangle you want to be your base. Now I'm going to do this again. I'm going to turn this around and make a different side. So now we're going to make this the ground. So this is the highest point. So this is the altitude. So this is a third altitude. All triangles have 3 altitudes. Just again depends which side you want to be your base. Okay, so one crazy thing about altitudes is if you happen to have an obtuse triangle. So here is an obtuse triangle. Okay, so one altitude is obviously if this is the ground, right, then this is the altitude. That's pretty straightforward. Now I'm going to do this without rotating it. So what now happens if this is the ground? Okay, so if that green side is now the ground, then this is the highest point, okay? So you should be able to see that. And so now my altitude is outside the triangle, okay? So what I want you to do is draw this picture in your notes, and then I would like you to try drawing your altitude if this is the ground. So pause the video and try that. Okay, so hopefully if you did this, you noticed that that would be the highest point if the red was the ground. So your altitude would go straight down to make a right angle. This is sometimes really hard to see. I'm gonna re-go over the triangle in black so you can, sometimes the colors make it actually harder to see. It's one of the few times. So in this triangle, this obtuse triangle, notice that there's one altitude, the easy one from the obtuse angle that's inside the triangle, and then these other two. Okay. Up again, what you need to remember is an altitude. Let's write the definition of altitude. Is a segment, okay, that represents the distance. Segment, that's the distance between a vertex of a triangle and the opposite side, Okay, now what's really important, distance means perpendicular, okay, and so sometimes it can be outside the triangle.